What's up,
And then
Mick?
you said, fuck Mick Rock. No, I mean, Elliot, you're the voice on the other end of the phone, right?
That's
From
right. That's
yesterday.
me. That's
Jimmy.
me. How you doing?
Well, it's an interesting time, I tell you. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I'm not taking a lot of pictures unless they're of my cat. So and everyone's trying to figure out how do you do it. But, you know, no, you can't be in the room with people. So, and for me, I don't know if I'm going to do it remotely. There's a lot of things you can, but I kind of need to breathe the same air as my target, you know. It's but it is what it is. I tell you what, the concentration on visual is fucking, as big as it was, it's got even bigger, and everybody's doing something, you know. And I'm doing all these things. I just did well, I've only just about, even though some of this has been around a long time, that's one of my Bowie pieces. That's called
Oh yeah,
Each Day. It's pretty.
that's great.
Did that many years ago. You know, I would do stuff. This was probably done in in the latter days of my cocaine frenzy. But
I
there
saw
was a
some
lot
cool
of
collages.
interesting stuff. Well, the thing is, you can, and with creative, the tangents that you go on, sometimes that can be good. But it's a law, there's going to be a certain point when there is no more return, because you've just done it all. But out of some of those periods, I did a whole body of work. I'm gonna getting this stuff out. I mean, I had to go, you know, I had to nearly die and get a kidney transplant, and then to start to figure it out. It wasn't the creative. That was like, you know, getting up and having a pee. Not quite. I do need a bit of a warm up. But this came out of a period when I wasn't that interested in photography anymore. So I did all this art. I'm going to start showing it about. But my two faves, you see, were Lou Reed and David Bowie. I have done it a lot of other stuff too, and Queen and Freddie and whatever, and stuff that's not personality. It's just, you know.
I heard that you got a 1,000 pounds for the Transformer cover. Is that true?
Somebody's telling you a fucking lie. I got $100. No, £100. No, £100. That's all I fucking got for that. And all that, like the Queen cover, and I conceived, I photographed, art directed, designed. I think for that I got 300 quid.
Oh my God.
But the residual thing, of course that's not true of all photographs, it depends on a lot of things, but is that some images stick and help form, like that Transformer for Lou Reed. I mean, people think of Lou Reed, they think of that. And I've done tons of pictures of Lou Reed. And yeah, well, we could talk for hours about what are you up to? That's what I want to know before I open up any more.
Well, so
you're doing this movie.
Yeah, we're in post-production.
We're doing this movie.
We're doing this movie in post-production right now, working on the edit, working on the score. Your daughter, Natalie, was in, I'm not going to tell you too much, she was in the club scene in the film. So we got this talking to her, and we've always known who you were. I actually met you at Deepak Chopra's years ago, maybe like 6 years ago in San Diego.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you go to that thing?
I
Whatever
did.
they call it, something.
Yeah,
they had a name for
Bradford.
it, and I remember saying, I don't think that applies to me, that word. Very
Sears and...
No, it was very complimentary. That was appropriate. Because my attitude was never, you know, was always over here. And I've done a lot of, I know, and even just did a great session with Lenny Kravitz. So I'm still doing it. It's not that I do it every day, but I do exhibitions, not at the moment. and
Yeah.
also my new book project. You saw Shop,
Yeah, loved
the
it.
document, yeah. So I'm doing a book now called Shots. The reality is with books is that it almost certainly, and especially now, couldn't come out till next autumn. But that's all right. I can start. There's a lot of things that this has kind of blown out, but it's about putting them, you know, it's not, and in the meantime, I'm doing a lot of, I'm quite happy to do it, to do these things. I mean, I do I did it just now with these two pieces, the two art pieces, but I'll just show pictures and talk. And if you're bored, you can always move on.
You know, Mick, you said, I watched the documentary and I read a bunch of stuff, and I've known about your work for years, obviously, like everybody has. You know, a few things, after doing a little research, a few things, I'm sure you've heard this a million times. It's kind of amazing that your name is actually Mick Rock. And I'm sure that really kind of got you in with the right crowd when you said that's your real name. I think I saw something about Bowie asking you if that's actually your real name, and you're saying it actually is, you know. And how you talked about
David's wasn't. The thing is,
wasn't.
David Jones, and I know it. But anyway, yeah. Well, it was fun being young, man.
Yeah.
I was drawn to certain people who really were on the cusp of the culture. I mean, nothing. David Lew, that shot of mine, David Lew and Iggy, whatever. It's a shot of them, the three of them, but it's still a fucking huge deal because it's those three. That summer of '72. Remember, Mark the Hooper were also around. David, and then Mick Ronson was helping enormously. He was a nice guy. It was fun. Everybody was so fucking young, and the pictures weren't even valued that highly. But the good thing is, because no people, the music business just wanted cheap pictures. That was their goal. Well, I was happy to get anything because it enabled me to live this kind of bohemian lifestyle. And I didn't have to take it too seriously. You know, it wasn't like, you know, I'm gonna be a photographer. I'm doing, I don't know, it kind of happened organically.
Well, you were a part of the fabric. You were a part of the fabric of what was happening. So you kind of naturally just captured it.
It's funny. You know? It's a funny thing because I would not, but you saw shots. So there is a certain amount, not too much, a little bit of background. But I didn't want it to be, you know, I thought it needs to be on the edge. However it's done. Yes, it does. I deal with my mother. Yes, Cambridge. Yes. But mostly the hurly-burly of what's been going on all these fucking years. I couldn't say that was the case nowadays because it would probably kill me. It didn't do it then, but it would now. But it doesn't. I'm doing fine, but I'm very serious about Kundalini yoga, TM, and chanting, and I get meals and massages. So I think that keeps this thing lately has made me feel a bit hemmed in like everybody. But now I know the lady will see me, not in her office, that does all this. Next week I'm going because I haven't been that long for years without. In fact, in a lot of my contracts it says you've got to supply me with a massage therapist as well every morning. That's part written into my contracts. It's just that I work better. I think I flow much more. I would have already done So when people want to talk to me about photography and about process, I say, well, the process just starts with my inner process. Yes, you've got to make sure a few things are, you know, ahead of time. But I just like doing it.
You meditate before
that puts
every
me
time
in that mood. Well, yes, I do. And nowadays, mostly, I have a lot of pictures on my camera. maybe I got to do a book of that. But mostly, I mean, I always joke, you know, well, if you want to see the big camera, I want money.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'll get it. And that's when I bring out my Canon, what is it? What was it? Whatever. It's a serious digital camera. People, so, don't you miss film? No, I fucking miss it.
You don't miss film?
I have a huge... that's some fucking old queen getting purist about it. And you see, the bottom line with me is, no, but the bottom line with me is, I just want a beautiful image.
Mm.
And that's the bottom line. I'm not thinking about the rest of it. I'm just doing it. As long as I'm in the right mood and therefore open to the right communication, it takes care of itself. But I can't roll, unless it's a cat or my wife, maybe. But even then, they don't want to be photographed first thing in the morning. Girlfriends from 30, 40 years ago, maybe. But that was a different time, a different life. But no, I enjoy.
Would you consider yourself a minimalist or like more practical? Because
well, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because most of my pictures, and there's barely any styling or anything, you must have absorbed that. And I do, I mean, you check out my Motley Crue pictures, man. The ones in the town or with the bro. I mean, if you give me the budget, I could cause mischief. But the budgets weren't that big back then.
Hmm.
But I never thought, because I didn't know any different. It wasn't like I was big commercial already. I wasn't established. I just like, you know, came in on the backs of LSD. And but what I was drawn to, you know, you see, I have some pictures of the Stones, but their performance or a couple of parties, but it's not a big deal. Great one with Mick and Andy, but it's at a party. And those pictures I never cared so much about. You know, it's like the Queen cover, yeah. But I composed.
Yeah.
You know, that was entirely. But I own the copyright now. I had to establish it. But then unless a photographer signs away his rights, I don't know what it's like in the age of phones, and I don't really care. For me to put, I mean, sometime I will, but I've got so much stuff that people want in exhibitions. I mean, if all I had was like 5,000 pictures and a whole bunch of film of David Bowie and Iggy Stardust, I'm there. Meanwhile, that's just, yes, it was important, absolutely important. But I've done a lot of different stuff.
Mick, let me ask you a question. Something just as a fanboy. You know, you were in the room with Freddie Mercury, David Bowie.
A fanboy. It's not like a rent boy, is it?
No, fanboy is just. I looked through all the images and I did a deep dive search and I realized I've seen almost all of these images because I'm a fan, you know, and I love all that shit and like anything mood boards.
And you're a visual artist too.
Absolutely, and so I see the minimalism and how I heard that you only kind of use one light, move it around to find a spot, and I the one thing I want to know because
I often use two, but there was a reason why I said that, and I'll tell you it. There was an older photographer. What's his fucking name? It's because I had a puff on one of those things for myself. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to be stoned, you know, because it's tea time here. And what the fuck did I say before I lost the?
It's two.
Wasn't Penn. It was a big classic photographer, and you would know his name. I read somewhere that he was talking in the 70s. He didn't understand modern photographers and all the equipment they used, and I thought, and he said, I normally move one light and just move it around. In my case, well, a lot of the time I had two lights, but I could perfectly do it with one. The technical side of it, the results maybe, but the technical side of it, how to get there, you know, I mean, what does it take to be a photographer? You can be fairly simple-minded, as long as you're, you know. I think I was always capable of, from the beginning, from the Syd Barrett pictures. And there's a couple of earlier ones that I'll crack out for this book, which is a kind of, people have wanted me to do a biography, but and there will be words as there were in the documentary, but I don't need to talk about that because I think I've got enough shit, enough to wave around to keep you entertained. I don't have to get into anything else. You know, I can show a few cocaine still lifes. I've got beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, man. It was always, and then the art direction, got a Phil Spector, Stones, and Aerosmith box sets. That was another thing. And it's, you know, I just, nowadays, of course, you know, I have enough. I just fucking hope Wall Street does a bit of rallying. So, you know, no, just a nice lady. She was introduced to me by the people that run the Kundalini Center where I go in New York. And I totally trusted these people. So I didn't have to research it. And she's a very nice person. And she keeps me posted. It's not been as bad as it might have been, I think, because in many ways they're quite conservative. I mean, they got an office on 55th and 5th. So, you know, it's, anyway.
Yeah.
Because she talked to me about it, she said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I trust you. I said, what would I do with it anyway? I wouldn't know what to do with it. So let's hang on for the long haul. Let's not assume that everything is going to fall off the edge. Because there's one thing about mankind, which even survived. I mean, this is a big fucking deal. Because you can't see your enemy. That's the big thing. But the last World War, I mean, for 8 months, my mother was in London during the fucking Blitz. And that before I know, but that was 8 months being bombed all over the place. And they were, whatever, they showed a bit of spine. I think also Hitler, well, I don't want to get into the politics, but you know, I mean, there's a certain party who does act and doesn't understand that this fall will come and it's going to be big. But how it comes, I don't know. And I'm not going to mention his name because there are weird people around. So enough said. But I'm, you know, I do all kinds of things. This new book I'm excited about. And there'll be some kabuki theatre in it. And there'll be illustrative stuff that, here, that, stuff. I thought I should have. It's always good to have a bit of stuff. Well, that you've seen.
You know, hey, while you're looking through this, I want to ask you. Let me see it.
Well, it's just whatever. I'm showing you pictures. That's from the Raw Power session. And you can see that. The thing about, I always said about Raw Power, is he looks like a fucking iguana. So Iggy, and of course his band had been called, before it was the Stooges, it was the Iguanas. And I think that's how his name came, the band's name was first, and then Iggy came out of that. And then, of course, I've got a bunch of pictures of. I mean,
is there a similarity between all these subjects, Mick, that I know you say that you like to shoot the aura of the people? Is there an energy from back then, a similarity between the Lou Reeds, the Dolly Partons, the Freddie Mercurys, all these people? Is there something that a cohesive through line?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, they're a bit mythological. Lenny Kravitz, he has some of that about him, as well as being a very polite gentleman.
He sure is. Yeah.
Great and great. He's just a gentleman. I asked him about that. I said, and I'd shot him before, and then we shot Game Reset. We had a little chat beforehand. I said, it's funny about you, I noticed. you're a bit more like an Englishman because you're very polite. You're not like the average. Like, I mean, I'm not knocking Americans.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, but you know, I'm used to it. But that's all I observed. And he said, "Oh wow, I grew up in the West. I did. He spent a lot of time with his grandmother in the West Indies. I realize it's the Bahamas, and it's the Bahamas that he. Right, it's the Bahamas where he is now, apparently. And no, he has a certain mythological quality about him. Who else would I say had that? Because that's difficult. The other thing is, there's no one really to compare him to. So he's out here. It's not like he's reminiscent of some older band. Yeah, he's got a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of that. But no one looks like him. The first time I shot him, he'd had a cut his hair and had a shave. So when we met at an exhibition of mine down in Dallas, he came, check it out, hang out, and we talked to do shoots. But I looked at him, I said, great, you got your full drag back on again. You know, I mean, the hair.
That glam look, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a bit reggae, but it's something else. It's his thing. I said to him, the other thing about you is, I know you do, but I don't think people look at you as either black or white. Of course, he's like Obama. He is he's biracial. That often produces a really, I have found, like a really pretty person.
Have you, Mick? You told Lou Reed that pointing a camera is a Zen exercise. That's what you said.
That was spooky. Yeah, well, I was just saying I empty out my brain, and then all I got to do is point it. And it was.
How long does it take? Like, let's say you get a subject, like let's say whether it's Dolly Parton, Freddie Mercury, whoever. How long does it take you? Can it take days before you lock into the? Because I know you're looking for it, and once you get it, once you know you have it, once you get
you
it,
better,
like you said.
Yeah, because I might gnaw on your neck.
Yeah, what's the longest it's taken you to find it?
I don't put any limit. Sometimes a limitation because of the subject. I mean, I remember shooting the Ramones end of the century, and they'd had, which was produced by Phil Spector, and the art director, whom I worked with before, called me and he said, "Oh, Mick," he said, "we've done 2 photo sessions. They hate them. In principle, they don't like photographers at all. They're not going to say a lot. If they don't like what's going on, they'll leave. And they're only going to stay an hour anyway." Well, okay. But it's the fucking Ramones, you know, fucking whatever they want to be. I'm going to get it. I'm going to fucking suck the blood out anyway. That's like the never in any sense to, but, you know, in that metaphysical sense.
Did they open up?
I wouldn't say opened up. Joey opened up to me a few months before his death. I remember asking how he was doing. And he said, bad days and good days. And of course he was dying. And he did that amazing last album, his solo album, which is fucking fantastic. I played it into the ground after he died. And not just because it was Joey, because of the music. And then he hit some of the songs he was singing, like "Don't Worry About Me." And he's telling people, you know, because the word gets out, don't worry about me. And
wow.
It's beautiful. Yeah, no,
I
think he was a very honest soul. And I know a bit more about him because I know Linda. And between Joey and Johnny, you know, well, she's lovely. She's a perfectly lovely lady. And you know, she said, I couldn't help it. They were both in love with me. You go, yeah, terrible problem. Not so bad, darling. So
hey,
she
Mick.
carries the mythology or between her and Marky, who was in the band by the end of the century. And I have pictures earlier, performance pictures at CBGB's, where Tommy's the drummer. And I know Tommy was very important to the establishing of their basic sound. He just didn't want to fucking go hang around with them because they were like moaning at each other because apparently they was fucking moaning.
Yeah.
Punk rock is punk rock, whatever the fuck it is. You can't, with artists, you can't read the music and what's behind the music or even their art. Maybe you can get, but I think think of punk. I was having a chat the other day, and who is the definitive? I know the Pistols made it, and I know the Clash are well regarded, and of course Susie's still going remarkably, and whatever. Obviously, it's the Ramones. It's the Ramones. They represent punk. So I'm glad I got this picture. It was a setup, so you can, they're right there with you. Because I remember the first time I saw them was '74 at CBG Beers.
Oh, wow.
Talking Heads. I didn't take any pictures that night. Was it Talking? Oh, what's it called? The band with Richard Hell in it. And right at the beginning. I think it was television. Right at the very beginning. Anyway, it's all been very interesting. If I had to say, sorry, no, please go ahead.
I want to transition. I want to transition into something that I think is important and something I can relate to. Obviously, we all have.
Can you see my room? Up here is a canvas.
I can, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks great. It's a good setup.
Got loads of it. Me and Russell did it. But this book, I've done all kinds of stuff people don't even know about. Partly, I think, because I was moved on real far. Okay, I've done it. So the next thing, or maybe I was just always broke. I don't think I had periods. So whatever came my way, I focus into it. Because you've got to do a good job. If you take the money for sex, that's all right too. And for whatever reason. And I shot a couple of disco album covers, but they were kind of different. So I've shot a lot of different stuff. It's people say, where did you find the time to do it? Well, one, I was curious about everything, especially if it was new. And two, it was, I suppose it was kind of like a nervous tick, maybe. I don't know. Could have been a little bit of brain damage. My mother always said, I wondered about you because we did drop you on your head a number of times. Too late.
There you go. Somebody has a question here. Is it true that Freddie Mercury crashed at your place?
He what?
Did he crash over at your house?
No, it was Roger Taylor. No, Roger Taylor told me the story. We're talking about Freddie. And when we first heard, oh, Freddie, he went, yeah, he was very like regal. I remember Bowie talking to me about that too. Maybe wasn't so sure about it. But Roger was saying, oh yeah, he'd come over your house and crash and act like he was doing you a favour. No, he did it with Roger. He could have come. Yeah. But,
What do you say about psychedelics? I know you shot those amazing Syd Barrett things. Did you ever do acid with Syd Barrett?
I did it with other times, other people. I only did it one time. But let me tell you, back then, not so long afterwards, there was window pane and you could chop it up. But the stuff that I was taking, I don't know if there's anything else around, I'm going to see this artist, this French artist, and he, with a friend of mine from Cambridge, from the university, and he'd take a bit of fucking blotting paper, as Barney shows you, and just drop, and then he'd circle it. But you didn't, how much the guy's fucking high on acid.
Yeah.
It was very, yes, it was very radical as an experience at that, not only at that age, but at that time, if you hadn't had it before. And I still remember that first one, certain things to go. But in total, I think I only did it maybe 10 times. I remember my friend from Eurythmics, he told me he'd taken it every day for a year before the Eurythmics got rolling. You know,
Oh wow.
Dave is a riot. He's fucking like, and he's been up to everything, and incredibly successful. Yeah, he's got. I mean, he's got to be a nervous tick with him, but he's brilliant. He's co-written lots of songs too.
Did you, Mick?
Yeah.
Did you when you approach these different bands? Did you do any research, or did you just feel the energy? Like, let's say you're doing, when Freddie Mercury came to you and Queen came to you. They came to you because they wanted that glam look, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Freddie and the others were going to have to put up with it anyway. But they were very cute. I will say that about Queen. When you look at them back then, my people go, oh, look at a bunch of schoolgirls, you know.
Oh, that's funny.
No, they were certainly, that was as good looking a band as ever was around.
Did you have a sort of formula how you approach these people? Did you kind of just go with the vibe and just walk in and feel the energy?
Well, I just kind of get on with it. I like have a chat for a bit and then whatever. Start probably with the obvious and then keeping it moving. But that shot was I've got a few Polaroids. You can see how it started out, and I had to get them on the right tilt, and they were not that experienced, and they were in and out of the makeup, and I was up on this ladder, they were propped up, and it was to get the angle right. And then I shot loads of them, black and white, color, solos, in the mirror, Polaroids. So it's that's an incredible shoot. I know people have offered me a lot of money to buy. There's a couple of like Bowie and the saxophone pictures. And I've got a guy who's trying to persuade me. But the Queen one, of course, is the very obvious one, especially the timing. And God bless him. I have had a little bit of a run in here and there about that image, establishing that I own it, which I do. So I don't think they loved me for it, but it didn't matter. The money I got paid for it, and then it shows, it was in the video, but somehow their manager did sort that out with me. But no, but they didn't really understand the law. There was no malice afoot, of course.
I've heard you talk about the power of intention before. I know, and kind of like
going in
things. And I know Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, with Freddie and I, it was easy. It was easy from the beginning. I've been around a lot of camp men for a start, and I enjoyed them. And he was. Well, I tell you, I don't know if it's here. There are pictures where we look. Well, I suppose I'd say sisters, but here's a couple of those contact sheets. So I'm going to have to do big, whatever. There's so much going on. I'm going to be photoed by Syd Barrett on my camera. This is going to be in the book. But this picture was done when it was like beguiled by film. It was my Medusa, but it was film and it was punk and it was glam, which is where I'd trodden. That's me and Syd. Whatever I think this is the wrong pile, you silly. Side bed of matter. Plenty of time. Freddie getting made up by my assistant backstage somewhere, wearing his Zandra Rhodes outfit. Luke from the Struts, a colourful one. I did an interview with him the other day. He had a good one. No, well, I watched him, right, because it was very Queen, very Queen. So I thought, well, I'll watch him. I thought, yeah, I can see that, but so what? Are they doing it good? And they got their own music. It's all right. Like a riff off Queen. Syd. Yeah.
Is there somebody you look up to, Mick, as a photographer growing up?
Well, no, I had no interest. I was more likely into poets. French drug-taking poets. Or the American beats. Or the drug-taking British romantics, I mean, they were all sodden with drugs and produced all this work. Like you talk about Rimbaud, complete nut job. and was really finished by an early age. He never made any money. And by the time there was money, he was dead because he died at 39. I think he was bootlegging. He was up to criminal activity. But that's how I saw them, like rebels on the edge, and Baudelaire, and all these, and then you get the Beats, Kerouac, and Allen Ginsberg, and all these associated, and the same with the English Romantics, you know, Byron and Shelley, and Keats and Coleridge, and they're all fucking up to mischief. This is very, you know, and of course.
I noticed when you were speaking in an interview, you were saying, and I know a lot of artists do this. I do this myself, and there's obviously a lot of ways.
There's a variable look. I think.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I've got with the hands in different positions, and maybe. And then keep talking.
I saw when you like, for example, when you said you looked at Joan Jett, and when you saw her, you saw Elvis.
I did. I got it right, and she looks it kind of in those I Love Rock and Roll pictures.
So is that the first sort of step for you when you look at someone, you kind of just dig back into your imagination?
No, it's all about
what
instinct. No, I'd tell you, I don't. Maybe sometimes I have certain images floating around. You know, it's like a warm up. It's not that it's got a. It did with that Queen image, and there's a certain Bowie one of more modern times. I've probably got in the box in the other room. Oh yeah, that's me alone. And this is his late blonde period.
Oh wow!
Wow, right.
How collaborative was Bowie when you're photographing him? Someone who has such a grip on his image.
Yeah, but he was very. Yeah, but he's also, and anyone would tell you, he's also easy to work with. If he's gonna put himself in your head. And I think, you know, the other thing with David is he never looked bad in a fucking picture anyway.
Yeah.
Whoever took the picture. So he felt, you know, it's like Debbie Harry. So he's full of the confidence that he can just relax and be who he is. He was, that was me. Because sometimes there'd be, is that the one or is that, oh no, that's Syd. This one here. That's, you know, I was of the period and I looked a bit like him. People at times back then they would say, "Who would I look like?" Never mind like David Bowie, but the four people were Freddie, Syd, what do you call it, Lou, and also Tim Curry, but not Iggy, not David, because I didn't. It's but look what I even shot. Bob Marley. I mean, I fucking the thing about me was I didn't sleep a lot. The first picture I ever took of David, that stage at Birmingham Temple, you know?
Yeah. Mick,
it's not such a dazzling picture, but it. And
you said on Fallon, Mick, that you learned a lot from Lou Reed.
Well, I hung out with Lou a lot and did a lot of pictures. Yeah, but outside of photography.
Outside of photography.
Yeah, he was a very interesting. I mean, I love Lou Reed, and we had a group. Even when I fucked up, and the drugs had got to me, and he was mad at me because I missed his second
wedding, right?
Yeah, yeah. But
what are some of the things that you learned from him that you brought with you?
I think a certain spirit, a certain, you know, to trust in. But I was also open-minded. So if somebody's suggesting something, but I'll be the energy stirrer. And once
you'll steer the ship.
That's fine. I'll shoot whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
It'll be, you know, then it becomes collaborative. But first I have to stir what I talk about it in the documentary. There's Stanislavski, the Strasbourg School, in fact. Actually, Natalie went there for a couple of years, the Strasbourg School. And he got it from Stanislavski. So, and he was really a theatre director. But I remember reading it in this book, An Actor Prepares, talking about going into a raw space, the basic things, going into a raw space and building the circle of energy.
Mm.
And then it could almost do it for you. You become a receiver. Whatever you're saying, effectively you are.
Sure.
And that's how I feel. And it gets really light, no matter how powerful the image, it gets a spirit to it. Get it up and, you know, keep it moving around. And,
so how important is the subject? Have you ever manipulated the entire shoot? You're just like this person.
You mean, has my camera lied for money?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I'm a bit desperate for money. I did. She was a lady with money. And she was singing disco. And I remember the guy from the record, no, I was a bit desperate for money. And it wasn't what I should have been getting, but it didn't matter. And she came back again. Now, of course, occasionally a boy has to, you know, do a bit of hooking.
Of course.
Yes, it means you have to give blowjobs, but you know, it's whatever.
Somebody on here. So do you shot Snoop Dogg?
Yeah,
What's that
Snoop.
like?
I loved it. And at first, they said, "Well, he's not in a very good mood today." I just went in and talked to him. But one thing I did tell him, which was actually true, that there'd been a big benefit in the park, in Hyde Park, probably around 2005. And he was on the bill. And that was the one time all of Pink Floyd were together. And that was the last time. Because Roger, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Dave, whatever. I mean, they don't need each other. They did this great thing together. And I could see where, you know, Roger might have been a bit. Well, then he did The Wall, and it says Pink Floyd, but really it's a Roger album. I think that was the one. But what are you going to do? Artists are artists, you know. God bless them all, I say. But Syd, I knew Dave when I was at Cambridge before he joined Floyd. When Syd was Pink Floyd, when I met him that Christmas at the art college. So, but it was funny all this stuff. And Rory Gallagher. I mean,
somebody did you say Liam Gallagher?
No, not those two. Rory Gallagher.
Oh, Rory. Somebody said something really great on here. Do you have a stack of pictures somewhere that just can never be shown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't do it. I couldn't.
Can we see them?
Yeah, look at you, cheeky bugger. I haven't shown it to my wife. Don't need to. I think you can't do that. You know, the relationships. And of course, it's always the early stuff where it's a bit out of hand. But they were my friends. And even if I remember a certain party thanking me. And I said to him, you know what? Even if I hated you, I wouldn't let certain pictures out. Just I wouldn't do it. Even that's, you know. Because he knew I'd been broke too, because I had that period. Yeah. But Lou.
I think that's what makes your situation more unique as a photographer. You were, like we said, a part of the fabric, so you had different responsibility. You were actually a part of the culture, and you were.
I used to write little things about it too. Another way of selling the pictures. It was, but I don't. It wasn't like it turned out that way. On the other hand, there's that little thing. What was I talking about in the documentary? That not all of them, you know. No, loads of them didn't. The boy had to make a living, you know. But I enjoyed it. I like working with musicians. So the fact that I was able to make a living, a lot of them, no one will have any interest in. I'll pull some out if I like them aesthetically for the shots. I'm going to call the book Shot. I want it to have that energy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I think that's important. So there will be some words, but not unnecessary. And I've got a lot of quotes from everybody too. My Lou and David quotes and Iggy and Freddie. Unfortunately, the only tapes I could find were of David and of Lou. And those pieces are in, or bits of them are in the documentary. Bits when you hear them. Yeah.
But getting back to Snoop, somebody wrote in here that you
Yeah.
told them that Snoop was acting like he was Hendrix. Is that true?
Well, they wanted, it wasn't, he was only, it was part of the idea that the magazine had. I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, Snoop, you motherfucker. You know. And that, I said, I'm sorry. I don't know you that way. He said, that's all right. All my friends call me Snoopy. And then the other thing I said, so when did you, this is a few years ago, I said, so when did you, instead of being the scourge of white people, become like cuddly? Well, not quite cuddly. And he said, I don't know, it kind of happened. Because he is. I mean, if you're doing fucking things with Martha, what's her name, you went all the way. And I love it. Well, he's unique and he won't be tied down, even as a rapper.
Yeah.
But that's what I told him. I told him that day, this place just outside Los Angeles, but it was actually the truth that he impressed me more than Paul McCartney and U2, who were on the bill that day too.
Oh, wow.
But he did.
That sounds about right.
And I think that helped. But I was only telling him my truth.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I thought he was very. He was he had a sweetness of spirit. Whatever the fuck he got up to when he was younger. A lot of things I don't want to talk about I got up to when I was younger.
Of course.
I wasn't a pimp, but I might just as well have been. So, but yeah, I like to like my subjects, but I don't have to. I don't have to. I do have to find a certain empathy in myself. Doesn't matter who it is. A lot of people I just photograph once. And it's just the way it works out. When we're shooting Hall and Oates, about 25 years apart, they didn't look that different. I tell you.
Wow.
That Daryl Hall man, I said to him, well, we've been taking. But no, I think he's, anyway. And then
What was the most the craziest photo shoot you've ever done? Is there one that sticks out?
Well, that Motley Crue one was up there.
Motley Crue?
Well, that was pretty up there because they were all, crawling on the ceiling, and so was I. And and I made these elaborate, including the one in the bubble bath, which has become, especially since the dirt, you just lay around and then that's dirty little buggers. So I see I have a good relationship with them. They were, yes, there was that glammy thing and they came to me, but I like the fact that they ended up being, image-wise, the naughtiest band of the 80s. So, so we texted, and Nicky and I did some panel not long ago. And he's super smart. He's kept that going. Even when Tom, I'm not doing this anymore. Okay, and then he does it anyway, because Nicky can. I'm sure he's smart about business, and he was always the driving force.
Yeah.
He wanted, but I know when they were talking about the comeback, he didn't want anyone replacing anybody. Not like a lot of bands, and then they get a new this or a new that. No, they were his boys. So I like. I love Joan Jett. Fantastic. But Lana Del Rey I worked with recently too, and she's pretty fucking amazing. Or some like Mark Ronson, he's fucking cool. Or Karen O, Janelle Monáe. I mean, I have a great time still.
What's the difference between the guys in the Bowies and the Lou Reeds and as far as from
I tell you, well, there's a different time.
Mark Ronsons and the Janelle Monáes, like these are such.
Yeah, but these people are super talented. I mean, that's what buzzes me. They're not like as bohemian. There was a certain bohemian spirit that was buzzing around there. Yeah, no matter what you wanted to call it. There was, But it's a different world today. Look, the fucking machines are everywhere.
I
And
know.
they're watching you. You can't lie anymore. I used to be able to, I mean, especially with girls, I lied all the time.
Was there a lot of lying happening back then in the scenes?
Yeah, well, there were no cell phones. Nobody knew where you were. And no. I mean, and looking back, you go, no one then there are the drugs, but it wasn't like the heroin, even though I saw it when I was quite young, didn't really kick in till the 70s, so maybe the mid. It's hard to tell because I never did heroin. I had fucking cocaine. I had a 20-year habit, It wasn't. It's just whatever.
Do you remember
There's no
the first person?
excuse, but I wasn't the only one. But I never had problems with heroin. Never. I was around it when I was young.
Yeah.
And one night, I remember, they were with some hash and they'd have a bit of smack. Anyway, I had never been interested in it. One night, they said, come on, Mick. And they were going to shoot me up. But the trouble was, I felt so fucking ill. This was before I'd done it, not like afterwards of people. And that was it. I never, and a couple of times snorted it when I thought somebody was being extremely tight-fisted with it, but it didn't matter then.
Have you ever traded photos for drugs?
Yeah, yes, I'm afraid so.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I had. I knew these two. I don't know. I went into. It's a long time ago. 30 years ago. Is you go in a room, and the room was literally full of cash, literally. And you go in another room, but they would have a number of places so they could move around with it, and they were very nice people, and they spoiled me. I think they regarded me as they could trust me because of how they met me, but I think they regarded artists as being more like, play pals, more like than anything else. But yes, they bought stuff. I used to go, I think I might put it in As If magazine. But you've seen it in the doc, but I know it's not the same as if the shot lingers, because then you can see how good those shots really are. That's white, it's totally reflective, and I could get the details in it as well. And I would shoot plate camera a lot of the time, and a lot of Hasselblad. But I don't know why. I couldn't give you, my lips are dry. I couldn't give you an explanation for why it all happened. I only know it did. And there was a lot of characters involved. I'll tell you, and a lot of musicians and artists, but who's this guy? Well, sorry, my lips were getting a bit.
Sorry? Mick, you meditate and stand on your head before you shoot.
I don't fucking leave the room, or I don't leave the apartment or the house until I've done that, and a few more exercises. Absolutely not. I'm certainly not going to get me anywhere near a photo session until I've done that. I actually don't start. I normally have that. I don't start a shoot before noon. I did a bit early, but even with like Gucci, I'm not leaving the hotel till 11 in the contract to be on set by noon. But part of the deal is, as it is with a number of others, is you have to provide me with a massage. Nothing funny about it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the person. I prefer a female, but I want them butch. I'm not interested the least bit in sex, believe you me, because you say, "Oh, massage me." No, many years ago, that was a whole different thing. No, I want some boots. I want the hobnail boots, the whole bit. And no, it has to involve a certain amount and pain, the right pain, to get a release. Because it's only, it's very important for me. Important? No, it's important.
Of course it's important.
It could be in some ways the most important thing. Because people say you must be obsessed by photography. I don't know, not really, more like a nervous tick. No, I wasn't obsessed. I was obsessed by altered states. This other way of feeling and how to get there. And then learning how to get there. Mixing the drugs and the thing. And then no drugs, which I haven't, not since I had heart bypass surgery 24 years ago. This coming, nothing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'll have a wild night out, I'll have a cup of coffee. I actually like a latte, even though I'm a vegetarian. But a cup of coffee and a little marijuana. What they call the hippie speedball. And you really don't need anything. So at least if you've had a massage beforehand, I can stay up all night. Because it opens up the things and the energy can flow. It's all about getting the energy, the blood and the oxygen,
Absolutely.